point in their life. And in fact, by the very fact that we focus so much on service above self, it drives us as an organization to be relevant to one specific demographic group. People who are older. And I say this with great respect because I'm rapidly getting there. No, we do that because you are the people that have the time, the discretionary time and income, and you are at a place in your life where you can, in fact, help other people. But you see, it's those people that are in the prime of their careers that built our organization that we should be focused upon. Not just because they're young, but because they're well connected in their businesses. They can bring us resource. And until we can talk to them about why they should join our organization on their terms, not ours, I think we will forever be challenged by the acceptance of service above self as limiting us to a very specific group of people. Let them come in for selfish reasons. I did. I came in for one reason and one reason only. My father insisted. Honestly, it was so much easier joining Rotary than listening to Dad every week. But let me put it a different way. I have a solution, and I mean this most sincerely. I can promise you what I'm about to tell you, if you use it, will absolutely positively affect your membership. You'll find not only your members are attending more meetings, but they're bringing new people with them. Next, and you're going to implement this tomorrow. Quite literally, if the president of your club gets up at the lectern at the end of the meeting, tells everybody in the club that everyone who comes to that meeting, member or not, as they walk out the door and leave, they will give them a $100 bill. I promise you, you will have a full room. Right? And think about it, it'll be really easy to invite people. Just come on in. All you have to do is listen to a speaker, we laugh a lot, you get a meal, and on your way out the door, you're going to be $100 richer. By the third meeting, well, you'll be broke. But you understand the point. It's really easy to articulate the value of a $100 bill. And yet here I stand before a bunch of people who clearly understand you're getting more than $5,200 a year, or you wouldn't be sitting here right now. You clearly understand the value of our membership. But until we can articulate that in specific terms, I think we're going to be challenged. So let me give you what I believe are three very specific areas where Rotary is unique and offers terrific value to our members. Personal growth, professional development, and what Rotary does to our families. Personal growth. We frequently say that we take ordinary people and put them into extraordinary circumstance. Constantly it's been done. I've watched it, not only myself by going and doing things, but taking people overseas. In fact, I can tell you a story. Not a great one because it kind of outlines a pathetic life. But during our honeymoon, Marcia and I went to a Rotary meeting. Well, we needed a break. From sightseeing, come on, what were you thinking? There are children in the room. Quite literally, I'd only been in Rotary a short time, and they told you that if you wore this pin, you could walk into any meeting and they would accept you. Well, that sounded pretty cool. So we were in Paris, and we went to the Rotary Club of Paris West, and sure enough, the pin gets you in. Walked in the door, sat down at this meeting, and, well, have you ever been to a boring Rotary meeting? In a foreign language? Anyway, we got in there, and a gentleman sat down next to us and translated. It was fascinating, it really was. It was, familiar and yet really kind of odd. Anyway, at the end of the meeting, they introduced us, they told them we were on our honeymoon. And at the end of the meeting, a gentleman came over and said, "Would you like to see a part of Paris you might not otherwise see? I'll come and pick you up on Thursday. Are you available?" We're like, "Oh yeah, we're available. Of course we are. We'd love it." He picked us up and he took us to places we would not have ever gone to. We did not know. One particular bistro that was up near the Sacré-Cœur. And anyway, we wound up that evening. We went up these stairs up into an apartment, and up on the apartment we opened the sunroof and walked out onto the roof, quite literally standing there, very much like Mary Poppins, right? And so for those of you who've ever been to Paris, right next to us was the Seine River. Right across the Seine River was Place de la Concorde. in the heart of Paris, and the night sky is erupting. You see, we're there on July the 14th. And here we stand in the middle of strangers watching this. I mean, I turned to Marcia and it was like, this is so cool. It really was. I mean, where else would you ever go to do that? Except at this Rotary meeting. And then we have this other process we go to. I've taken, as you heard, over 1,000 people overseas to participate in National Immunization Days. And while it is remarkable the effect of giving those 2 drops to a child, that is not the most remarkable thing that I have seen. What you see is these people go in and they're so focused on giving these 2 drops. And then they wait for the next child and they look up. And they see the village that they're standing in. And in the middle of the village, they see a creek. But then they come to realize that's not water, that's sewage. And then they go into a school and they see 4 children sitting at one desk. And one child is working with a pencil and paper, and the other 3 are just sitting there. And you're thinking, what am I looking at? Until you see that first child finish with the pencil and paper, and then quite literally hand it to the next child who's been waiting their turn to write. And you respond exactly like any human would. I don't know what I can do about eradicating disease, but I can fix that. And you watch these people go overseas and realize they can make a difference to people that have so little with such a little effort. But it's even better than that. You see, as a part of our organization, we have a benefit that is extraordinary, and yet we never see it as such. We have a benefit that's for our members only, that allows them to live well beyond their means, that gives them the opportunity to dream, that fundamentally is an enabler of great things. And this thing we have that no one else gets to use, well, it's called the Rotary Foundation. And I'm not here to plead for giving to the Rotary Foundation. I'm here to talk about what I have seen the Rotary Foundation do to our members. These people go overseas, and I know it because I've taken them overseas. And when they get there that first day, they say, I'm not going there. And I'm certainly not eating that. And I'm still not going over there. I mean, they define what they don't want to do because it's all foreign. And then you watch them. You watch them go into the village. You watch them grow. And every single time, we wind up at the very last meeting of the time we're there. And all of a sudden, you really can't tell who came with me and who didn't, because you see, they're wearing the local clothes. They're all interspersed with the local Rotarians. And then comes the time that I say we have to get on the bus and go. And it's the big hug and cry. Everybody is hugging each other, and they feel fundamentally like they're a part of the culture. I've taken many, many people overseas, but I brought them back as Nigerians, as Ghanaians, as Indians. And that is what we have in our midst through the Rotary Foundation and what we do. We allow people to live well beyond their means, to do things they never dreamt that they could or should do. And yet you see it happen all the time. And yet we never talk about it that way. We allow people to live in a way that they can't buy anywhere else. My father, who has now passed away, said to me frequently towards the end of his life that his greatest treasures were his memories. And here we are, a member of an organization that delivers this benefit. And yet we rarely recognize it, we rarely talk about it, and very rarely have I ever heard a president or a leader in our organization talk about how extraordinary our membership is. The second area is professional development. It is fundamentally the reason that we came together. Vocational service. Many clubs don't even have a vocational service chair because I'm not quite sure what to do with that vocational service chair. And yet it was one of the reasons we came together. If you go to One Rotary Center in Evanston, at our headquarters, go up to the top floor, the 18th floor of that building, it's where the board meets. And just outside the boardroom is a wall of pictures of every single board of directors that we've had since our inception. If you ever get there, go and take a look at the faces in those first 24, maybe 30 pictures. All the faces that you see are of young people in the prime of their careers putting together their life. In fact, those 4 famous people that got together on February the 23rd, 1905, the oldest one was 37. We brought ourselves together to do business with one another, but not just to do business in any way, to do business the right way. We either later defined it by doing the four-way test. And I'm not talking about throwing business cards out on the table. No, that's not the way we do this. The way we do it is we bring these people in and allow them to stand for their vocation. But the way you get credential in our organization is how you serve in your club, how you participate. I heard a great expression of why Rotary was significant to a young Rotarian. She was 25 years old. She was sitting on a panel and was answering the question, why Rotary? And she said, the reason I enjoy Rotary so much is that every week I get to sit next to people that otherwise I would have to spend $250 an hour to meet. Think about that. Think of the assets we have in our club. These younger people in the prime of their careers, they don't want to come in and sell you their business. They want to come in and find out how you became successful. They want to sit by the leadership in their district, or in their club, and in their community, to be identified with the leading group of people. Yes, they may want access to your Rolodex, but you know what? I'll bet you that's the reason you joined Rotary. In fact, if you really stop to think about it, Rotary is the original face-to-face Yelp. It's the way that we go about buying. We don't go in to sell, we go in to buy. If I'm going to look for an attorney, I'll call my attorney friends in Rotary and say, here's my need. And they'll go, wait a minute, I know exactly who you want to talk to. And I tell you what, I'll call them first so they know who you are when you call. Time and time again, that is how we interact with each other. And yet, frequently, we don't allow conversation about business in this club. In fact, when you go into clubs, how many of you find someone if they appear in the paper for their business? Do you know how finding was started in Rotary? We used to find people that did not do business with one another, and somehow that all changed. But you see, it goes well beyond just this opportunity to connect businesses. Think about the value that we offer our membership. We provide all sorts of training just by showing up. Leadership training, public speaking skills. You know when you hear a good public speaker, and you sure as heck know when you hear a bad one. And I'm hoping you can tell the difference between the two. But think about it. Project management, fundraising, event production, nonprofit management. There was a woman that I came to know, and I love this story because it really says the essence of what I believe vocational service is. She was a member of Rotary Club. She was a mid-level human resource manager in a pretty good-sized firm. And she decided she really wanted to get into fund development, raising money. She volunteered to be a fundraiser for polio and the foundation in her club. She loved it and was so successful. She put down in her resume that she raised money for the Rotary Foundation. She's worked at the University of California for 6 years. She's extremely successful in that capacity. And I've had
recognition that are given to individual Rotarians on the recommendation of their club. It's presented by Rotary International. Bobby Simon. Ernestine, member of the Cleveland Rotary Club, and is involved in most every activity that Cleveland Rotary has that they take them under for the last several years. Congratulations. This next recognition for avenues of service and citation is to Becky Mason.